Well, this is a thing now, I guess. Holy shit. Well, thank you. I thank you so much. I realize that I can't say all that much without seeming like the cliche generic YouTuber, but, well, now that I think about it, I'm doing a Q&A this video, so I guess I'm already a cliche generic YouTuber. But that's okay. The reason I'm doing a Q&A this time instead of something more interesting is the only other time I've done one is when I was at 10,000 subscribers, which means a good 80% of you don't really know all that much about me. So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. So I'm gonna start off with questions that I got from my Twitter followers, but then when I inevitably need to pad the runtime of this video to make it over 10 minutes, I'll move on to questions that I got from a previous YouTube video. So yeah. Why are you such a nerd? Alright, we're off to a good start. Also, I'd love to know how you first got into music. Okay, well, thank you, first of all. And second of all, the real answer to that is my parents. They were both musicians, and they started me on piano lessons from a very young age. And I very quickly realized that it was one of the only things that I was actually good at, so I stuck with it. If your parents were hippies and named you after the first instrument they saw after your birth, what would your name be? Well, I guess either clarinet or saxophone. My dad plays clarinet and my mom plays sax, so yeah, one of those two. I ask everyone this, so beat boop. I feel like that might be a meme that I don't know yet, so instead I'm just gonna say, nah man, you're thinking of beat bop boop boop bop. Why is Hightower your favorite map? Well, it's really just because of the silly shit. I realized very early on in my time playing TF2 that I wasn't gonna be taking this game seriously, and Hightower was the least serious map in the entire game. What kind of music do you enjoy listening to? So I actually answered this one last time in my 10,000 subscriber video, but I'm gonna answer it again because it's a question that I really like answering. Literally anything. You can send me any type of music and I will listen to it. That's the thing. I always just like listening to new stuff. You know, something that I'm not familiar with. It's exciting, it's fun. So if you've got like suggestions or recommendations, then yeah, let me know. Valve competitive rank, fresh meat, because I'm a casual scrub and I'm bad at the game. I've actually only ever played one round of competitive, and in that one round of competitive that I played, I got matched up against Froyotech while Banny was streaming. Yeah, I got one kill the entire game. Be honest with you, I'll take it. Do you think pineapple on pizza is acceptable? Again, I feel like this is a meme that I'm not familiar with, but really, get the fuck out, dude. First video game you ever played? The first one that I remember was Monsters, Inc. for the Game Boy Advance. Should I use Ableton, Fruity Loops, Cubase, or something else entirely? Okay, so for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, he's actually talking about digital audio workstations. Think like a video editing program, but for audio. So, I use Pro Tools, but that's because I'm a sound designer and not just a composer. So, Pro Tools is good at everything, but not really the best at any one thing in particular. And those ones that you mentioned all have really, really good strengths, but they're not kind of all-rounders, I guess. Ableton is amazing for live performance and EDM. Fruity Loops is really good if you're first getting into music composition and you don't really know what to do. Cubase is a solid music producing software, and so is Logic. So I'm assuming based on your question that you're fairly new, so I would highly recommend Fruity Loops because it's easy to learn and it's really cheap. Why did you start doing YouTube? Okay, so this is actually a funny story. I started doing YouTube because I had a friend who was interested in getting into TF2. And I wanted a quick way to be able to show him, hey, this is what TF2 is all about. So I started uploading like 10-second clips of, you know, funny stuff that happened to me in-game. Now, slowly over the course of a few months, I gained around 100 subscribers, and at that point I thought, well, hey, I guess I might as well try out actual content now, huh? And I made this video called Hat Stereotypes. It was something that I'm sure everybody had thought about, but for some reason nobody had made a video on it. So, I did. And it just blew up. To be completely honest with you, I still have no idea what I'm doing. Are you planning on going on vacation? No. In all seriousness, once I'm in a financial position to be able to do so, I would love to go down to RTX in Austin, but at the moment, that's not really feasible for me. So, yeah. Who are you? Who is you? What's your name? Ethan. Are you a Canadian? No. What do you want to do when you grow up? Well, I want to write music for movies, or TV shows, or video games, or really anything. I want to write music. What's your favorite game besides TF2? At the moment, Hive Jump. It's an indie platformer that came out last month, and okay, so the best way to describe it is like somebody took Contra and Metroid, and then they put them in a blender, and they just turned on the blender, and while the blender was going, they added a kick-ass 8-bit soundtrack by Jimmy Henson, or Big Giant Circles, who's the guy who did the music for Mass Effect and Black Ops 2 and all that other stuff. And then they pulled it out, poured it into a cup, and served it as a delicious indie beverage. This metaphor really fell apart fast. Okay, so if you like 8-bit music and you like platformers, you should absolutely go check out this game. It's a ton of fun. And no, they did not pay me to say this, I just really, really like this game. Favorite Smash player? Oh boy, so I am a die-hard Mewtwo King fan, and I think I always will be. I love watching the guy play, and just, yeah, Mewtwo King, all the way. Are you going to do weapon or misc stereotypes? Yes. Do you have soul? Well, no, I'm a ginger. Face reveal. Well, I've actually done this a while ago, but I realized that a lot of you might not know what I look like. So, based on my voice, I bet a lot of you are thinking that I'm actually somewhat attractive. So, prepare to be disappointed. Yeah. Sorry. What is your favorite and least favorite weapon in TF2? My favorite is the Market Gardener, and my least favorite is the Deadbringer, and it should be pretty obvious why. How on earth did you come up with such a beautiful cosmetic loadout? Well, like I said, I do not take this game seriously at all, and based on, hat stereotypes and all that jazz, I determined that the Allfather and the Doctor's Dapper Topper were the two cosmetics that best said, I don't take this game seriously at all. What microphone do you use, and what would you recommend for somebody looking to get into YouTube or voice acting? Okay, so I use a Neumann TLM-102, but I realize that a lot of people might not be willing to drop that amount of money just to get into YouTube or voice acting. The only reason I actually bought a Neumann was because A, I'm a sound designer, so I would use it for things other than YouTube, and B, I managed to snipe a used one off of eBay for like half the price of a new one. So yeah, I got really lucky. If you are just starting out and looking to get into YouTube and voice acting, I just have one piece of advice for you. Please, for the love of God, don't get a Yeti. Do not, just don't, okay? I know a lot of people say, oh, but it's a good mic. Okay, yeah, it's an okay mic. It sounds good, but it is horrendously overhyped and overpriced. There are plenty of other microphones out there that you can get for less money, and in terms of quality, it blows the Yeti out of the water. If you're first looking into the world of higher-end microphones, I would recommend that you start with the Audio-Technica AT2020. It's a solid condenser mic that comes in XLR, but if you don't want to drop the money on an interface, which you would need for an XLR microphone, it also comes in USB. You'd be sacrificing a little bit of quality, but it's still pretty solid. What is your main in TF2? Well, I actually get this question a lot, and I always just tell people that I main Trollger. Okay, I realize your next question is probably going to be, no, seriously, but who do you main? And I don't know. I guess the closest thing I have to a main is Heavy, because when I'm playing the game seriously, that's who I find myself playing the most. But the only thing that I'm actually remotely good at in this game is Trollger, so, yeah, I main Trollger. Why is your name SoundSmith? Because I'm a sound designer. You know how blacksmiths work with metal and silversmiths work with silver, so, my name's SoundSmith. Yeah. Can fat and B-I you? Yes. If you could have any item in any quality with any unusual effect or strange or whatever, what would it be? It would be a strange, unusual Allfather with either sunbeams or nebula, with the stipulation that I could transfer the strange points from my old Allfather over, because I've had that for a really long time and it means a lot to me. What is your opinion on Overwatch? I think it's an amazing game and I really understand why people like it so much, but it's not my cup of tea personally, and I will probably be explaining why later on in this video. Do you play any instruments? Well, I think my primary instrument would be the upright bass. I also play a number of other instruments like electric bass, I play guitar, I play piano, a little bit of cello, an even less amount of viola as long as I play it like a tiny cello. And I guess analog synthesizers, if that counts, kind of. I don't know. What is even more Mimo than our very own Timo? Peter scraps when he's drunk.
Oh, I thought they were $10 for some reason.
Really?
What? Nobody would
you
play
think they were $10?
$40 for a chance to get on Australia.
All
Yep.
Right. What was that? Are you...
Also,
no, hang on.
I saw someone
I suddenly
with a...
tripped over.
What?
I tripped over and hit my head.
You alright? Okay, seriously, how drunk are you? Who is your waifu? Okay, so you guys know the show Ruby? The Rooster Teeth show where every weapon is also a gun? Yeah, okay, so my waifu, best girl, is very clearly the shopkeeper from the first episode of Ruby. Okay, so I bet a lot of you actually just clicked off the video before I even mentioned that. Alright, okay. Alright, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we are going to move on to the lightning round. I wanted to answer a lot of questions for this, but I was too lazy to go through and do meticulous audio editing on like 30 minutes of footage. So let's speed things up a little bit, shall we? What are some cosmetics you really like besides the ones you use in your loadout? I really like the Napper's Respite. What's your favorite sandwich? The festive sandwich. The wrapping paper gives it a nice texture that makes it interesting to eat. How long have you been following Comp Smash? Ever since Apex 2015. On a scale of 1 to 10, how spicy is your 7 to... Oh, we got one, everybody. We got one. Do you play any other games besides TF2? Yes. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? It's 11 meters per second or about 24 miles per hour. Don't ask me how I know that. Have you read the TF2 comics officially made by Valve? Yes, and they're amazing. Favorite update? Love and War. How old are you? 20, but in a couple weeks I'll be 21. Why do you still play TF2? Because I still enjoy the game. Also, not a great bait, mate. I rate 1 out of 8. Go back to jerking off in Ouija's comment section. How can we play with you? Oh, hey, time to shamelessly self-promote my Twitter and my Steam group, which I will be giving announcements in whenever I play with subscribers. Hey. What's your favorite piece of music that you've made? Well, it's always whatever piece of music that I'm working on at the moment. So right now, it's a commission that I'm working on that's a compilation between Red Like Roses from Ruby and a track from the Witcher 3 soundtrack. So it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited. Favorite kind of cereal? I am really boring. I like Cheerios. Do you like the TF2 community? Yes, for the most part. I'm not gonna act like there aren't a few bad apples in the bunch, but for the most part, yes. How did you get that crosshair? Well, it's a custom crosshair that comes as a part of my HUD, which you can find in the description. Why is your voice so smooth? Well, there's this wonderful thing called the CA2A, which is a recreation of a vintage tube compressor. So, that's the short answer. Have you ever thought about playing competitive TF2? No, I'm really bad at the game. The only thing that I'm actually good at is Trollger. Favorite childhood game? Super Mario 64. Which character would you main in Overwatch? Lucio, hands down. The reason for this is because A, I like support characters, B, he makes music, which I thought was kind of fun because I also make music, and C, he's one of the only characters in the game who has a movement ability that requires more skill than just pressing left shift. In case you were wondering why I don't play Overwatch, that's the reason why. Is skill ceiling. But SoundSmith, you're really bad at TF2. Why are you complaining about skill ceiling when you're so bad? Well, I actually spent a lot of time learning how to rocket jump, and now Overwatch comes along and says, oh, you just press left shift and the game does it for you. So yeah, maybe I'm a little bit salty. Alright, so that's all the questions that I'm going to answer today. That being said, if you still have some questions that I didn't answer in this video or in my frequently asked questions section on my profile, please feel free to shoot those at me on Twitter. I'd be happy to answer any question that, isn't too personal. Once again, I can't thank you guys enough for getting me to 50,000 subscribers. I was about to say I really didn't think that I would make it this far, but I realized that literally everybody and their mother says that, so just thank you. That's really all I can say is thank you.